Christine Brennan is releasing her book about Caitlin Clark.
This book is so interesting, and it's really about a phenom, as you call it in the sports world, Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark has changed the game. She changed it in college and in the WNBA.
Christine Brennan writes a book about Caitlin Clark and the revolution behind women's basketball.
Caitlin Clark is the driving force behind the WNBA success, women's basketball success.
The moment Caitlin Clark's newest book was released, the entire landscape shifted. Social media went into a frenzy, headlines dominated every platform, and inside the WNBA, tensions hit an all-time high.
Caitlin Clark is the driving force behind the WNBA success, women's basketball success.
Doing massive business for a league that has no track record of it.
What was meant to honor a generational superstar is now revealing deep fractures within the league. Envy, backlash, disorder. And through it all, Caitlin continues to rise above.
Jealousy and resentment as a white player became the top story in a predominantly black league.
If you stand with Caitlin Clark 100%, show your support by dropping a 100 in the comments, because what happens next might just shake the WNBA to its core.
Country has fallen in love with what we have created, and America, here's the girl next door, all grown up, Caitlin Clark.
Her presence and her impact in women's basketball is referred to as the Caitlin Clark effect.
No one expected Caitlin Clark to become a household name, not in a league that has spent decades fighting to stay relevant. Yet here she is, front and center, redefining what's possible in women's sports. And now her new book, On Her Game, is pulling back the curtain to reveal just how massive her impact truly is.
This Christine Brennan book. It's called On Her Game, Caitlin Clark and the Revolution in Women's Sports.
Christine Brennan, she's now written a book called On Her Game, Caitlin Clark and the Revolution in Women's Sports.
And why it has the WNBA on edge.
Christine Brennan is releasing her book about Caitlin Clark, and she talks about the impact of Caitlin Clark, and I'm sure there will be so many wholesome stories and uplifting things about Caitlin, but she is also sharing a look behind the scenes at a lot of the drama and negative things.
Written by veteran journalist Christine Brennan, this unauthorized biography doesn't come from Caitlin's PR team. It's raw, it's unfiltered, and it's sparking intense conversation.
It is causing such a crazy stir amongst fans.
Not only because of what it shares, but also because of what it uncovers about the league itself.
It's actually selling out. A lot of people have ordered the book because there is a lot of juicy gossip. She's fueling a lot of drama. And that's the method that she's using to market her book.
Brennan followed Caitlin closely for 6 weeks, attending her press conferences, practices, games, and even behind-the-scenes moments.
You spent 6 weeks on the road with Caitlin and the Indiana Fever, covering games, practices, and press conferences.
What she witnessed wasn't just an athlete on the rise. It was a cultural revolution unfolding.
She is, of course, as you said, a phenomenon, as we say in the book.
Men who once ignored women's sports now arrange their evenings around her games.
Clark and her team have often seen more fans in the arena for the WNBA than some NBA teams.
And I interviewed a lot of these guys who are putting on the number 22 jersey, going to the grocery store, going to the game, planning their evenings around the starting time of Caitlin Clark's game.
Adults proudly wear her number 22 jersey while shopping. Kids, boys and girls alike, wait in line for hours just to catch a glimpse of her. And here's what stands out most. Brennan argues this isn't just a wave of hype. This is something unprecedented in women's team sports. Not even Serena Williams or Simone Biles sparked this kind of crossover phenomenon.
TV ratings, the audience, but it's about a person that the nation, I think, has correctly fallen in love with.
Caitlin Clark is the first to reach this level of cultural stardom in a team sport. Not an Olympian, not a tennis champion, a basketball player. And that changes everything.
Title IX, which, by the way, has just celebrated its 53rd anniversary.
She represents the athlete America unknowingly created, thanks to Title IX.
She is the all-American girl grown up. She, frankly, is that girl that parents see in the kitchen every morning who is racing off to soccer practice and then changing in the car.
To generations of parents who tossed balls with their daughters, to decades of women hearing "you can't" until someone like Caitlin finally said, Watch me.
For generations, we were saying no to girls and women. You cannot learn about sports.
Now, as she dominates headlines and becomes the face of what women's sports can achieve, she's shaking a system that was never ready for her. But while her fans are cheering, not everyone is celebrating.
She and her team, the Iowa Hawkeyes, drew more television viewers for the women's NCAA championship than the men drew in their NCAA double championship game.
The book highlights just how unprepared the WNBA and some of its players were for the tidal wave Caitlin brought with her. And that's where the story begins to twist, because the bigger Caitlin grows, the more exposed the league becomes. And this is only the beginning.
Caitlin Clark is that person.
She's a beneficiary of
She's
this.
a beneficiary. She is, frankly, what we created.
Caitlin Clark didn't simply arrive in the WNBA. She burst through the doors and shook everything to its core. She brought with her an ocean of fans, nonstop national media, multi-million-dollar NIL deals, and a style of play that spoke louder than any headline.
But it has not always been a smooth ride to her deserved stardom and deserved success.
Her arrival wasn't just thrilling.
She and her team, the Iowa Hawkeyes, drew more television viewers for the women's NCAA championship than the men drew in their NCAA double championship game.
It was disruptive. And that disruption uncovered an uncomfortable truth. The WNBA wasn't ready for Caitlin Clark, and neither were many of its players.
Caitlin Clark is that person.
She's a beneficiary of
She's
this.
a beneficiary. She is, frankly, what we created.
Christine Brennan's book doesn't tiptoe around this reality. It tackles it head on, exposing the league's deepest wounds. A league long led by Black players who've endured years of being overlooked, underpaid, and marginalized by the broader sports world.
But it has not always been a smooth ride to her deserved stardom and deserved success.
Then, seemingly overnight, a white player from Iowa arrived and took it all. The attention, the endorsements, the sold-out arenas. The resentment, it's real. Brennan writes candidly,
what Caitlin Clark's first year in the WNBA looked like and the lack of preparation from the league level.
If I were a Black player, this would bug the hell out of me. That isn't speculation. It's a raw acknowledgement of the tension simmering just beneath the surface. The WNBA is nearly 75% Black, and for some players, it feels like Caitlin didn't earn the spotlight. She inherited it. But here's the truth many overlook. Caitlin Clark fought for everything she has. Every headline, every record, every sold-out crowd. From high school gyms in West Des Moines to leading Iowa to the NCAA finals. She's delivered results time and again. The real failure isn't Caitlin's, it's the league's. Brennan makes it clear, even as Caitlin's college games were packing arenas and breaking viewership records, the WNBA did nothing to prepare its players for what was coming.
Other needle movers in sports, Michael Jordan is Black, Simone Biles, Serena Williams are both Black, Tiger Woods called himself Cablinasian. Why is there so much negative attention to Caitlin Clark being white?
For the longest time, this was seen and still is as a majority Black league. And it is 74% Black. And so I think all of us understand that the issues that can come up in that situation. And hey, I'm sitting here talking to you as a white woman, you're a white man, and we will never live 1 minute.
No open conversations, no guidance, no effort to bridge the gap between Caitlin and her soon-to-be teammates. And so, when she arrived, it all exploded. We've all seen the clips, the hard fouls, the eye poke, the relentless elbows.
Controversy surrounding the eye poke saga, where Dejanay Carrington poked Caitlin Clark in the eye.
The Players Association releasing statements attacking reporters for asking questions about Caitlin.
WNBPA ripped her a new one. They called her out. They wrote a whole message like on behalf of the 144, which is 144 players.
The WNBA PA came out against Christine Brennan because she was questioning Dejanay about the eye poke situation.
This isn't just competitive spirit. It's a league reacting in chaos instead of leading with vision. The truth? Jealousy has fueled much of this. Brennan documents it clearly. Many players feel they spent years building the league in obscurity, only to watch Caitlin step in and instantly become its face. That frustration bubbled over when Angel Reese called out the media for labeling her too ghetto for their narrative.
controversy surrounding the eye poke saga, where Dejanay Carrington poked Caitlin Clark in the eye.
She didn't mention Caitlin by name, but the target was clear. And yet, Caitlin hasn't flinched. She hasn't fired back. She hasn't played the victim. She simply stays focused, signing autographs for kids, thanking fans, and keeping her composure. Even when reporters pressed her with loaded questions, she never blamed others. Instead, she said simply, "Don't use my name to promote hate."
Always thanking others, talking about her role, doing autographs before, after, making sure if she misses a kid, coming back to that kid, and not just girls. She talks about girls and boys.
That's not just poise, that's leadership. And the irony? The same league that failed to prepare for her is now profiting because of her. Players who once felt threatened are now enjoying better salaries, charter flights, and full arenas, thanks to Caitlin. Brennan even shares how deep the divide has become. When she questioned a player about a rough playoff moment involving Caitlin, the backlash was immediate and coordinated. The Players Association accused her of baiting black athletes into a racial narrative. But Brennan, who has questioned the likes of Tom Brady, Tiger Woods, and Michael Phelps, fired back. Are we saying women don't deserve the same tough questions as men?
Christine Brennan asked Dejanay. She said, "Dejanay, when you went and kind of swatted at Caitlin, did you intend to hit her in the eye?"
That moment revealed a bigger fear, that Caitlin isn't just shaking up the league, she's exposing its weaknesses, favoritism, insecurity, lack of leadership. And yet Caitlin keeps her cool.
This was in regards to DeWanna Bonner. Just a couple of minutes after Carrington's interview session was over and she walked away, I was standing near the other reporters at the side of the court when her teammate DeWanna Bonner walked toward me. "You disrespected my teammate."
Brennan calls her 22 going on 40, someone who looks you in the eye, shakes your hand, and meets every challenge head on. For a league that's been begging for mainstream relevance, Caitlin delivered it. But instead of celebrating her, parts of the WNBA turned on her. Not because she failed them, but because she succeeded beyond their expectations. And now the league must confront an undeniable reality. The Caitlin Clark effect is here, and it's not going anywhere.
Dejanay Carrington overheard them talking and started accusing them of saying she's a bad teammate. This is what the WNBPA, which is the Players Association, wrote to Christine Brennan afterwards. A message on behalf of the 144. To unprofessional members of the media like Christine Brennan, you are not fooling anyone. That so-called interview in the name of journalism was a blatant attempt to bait a professional athlete in participating in a narrative that is false and designed to fuel racist, homophobic, and misogynistic vitriol on social media. You cannot hide behind your tenure.
Caitlin Clark is no longer just an athlete. She's something much bigger, something the WNBA and the wider media world never imagined. She's become a cultural icon, mentioned alongside names like LeBron James, Serena Williams, and even Taylor Swift. But how did it happen? How did a 6-foot guard from Iowa?
WNBA official, she says this. She says, "I have a simple test about whether questions are appropriate or not. They should not be vulgar, they should not be rude, or they should not be inappropriate. Your questions were not vulgar, rude, or inappropriate. Your questions were fine." Unfortunately, most of our players have zero idea what real media exposure is.
Who started playing against boys on her driveway, become the most talked about figure in women's sports, while also sparking a cultural and racial debate inside the league she was expected to uplift.
I didn't like the way Brennan phrased her question at the time. It was almost too accusatory, but the question itself, I mean, those are the kind of questions, those are big boy and girl pants questions.
It all began with something traditional sports didn't account for: the power of NIL, name, image, and likeness. Even before her first WNBA game,
the maturity, the poise, handling every issue, lots of stuff thrown at her, lots of controversy, as you know, and everything about her, a maturity, an elegance, intelligence, and just also a sense of humor that you would hope to see in someone. And America, there she is.
That she's so famous, but is able to keep a level head amid all the crazy storm.
Caitlin had already locked down at least $3 million in NIL deals, with brands like Nike, Gatorade, and State Farm lining up to sign her.
She never said no comment. She never said, "I don't want to talk about this." And a lot of the questions were also about basketball and what's she thinking and does she know when the ball leaves her hands that it's going in?
This wasn't just money. It was visibility, cultural influence. While other players fought for scraps of recognition, Caitlin was everywhere. On TV, in commercials, across social media. What made it more striking was that these ads weren't just running during her games. They featured her. Brennan describes watching a game go to commercial, only to see Caitlin appear again in a State Farm ad moments later. She dominated the screen, making her presence inescapable. She went from being Iowa's pride to symbolizing possibility. College arenas packed with 20,000 fans, TV ratings through the roof, and fathers who had never cared about women's sports now proudly buying season tickets. It wasn't just her deep shooting range. It was her swagger, her charisma, her ability to electrify a crowd while still taking time to make a young fan's day.
They missed 5 games. During those 5 games, the WNBA, their attendance, their TV ratings, they lost over half of their viewers, disappeared. So Caitlin's gone, more than half of the viewers disappear. That didn't happen with Tiger Woods. That didn't happen with Magic or Bird or Michael Jordan, to lose that much of your fan base.
That's more than athleticism. That's brand power. And in the WNBA, a league long overshadowed by men's sports, Caitlin's meteoric rise didn't just shine a light. It rattled the system. The league had never seen anything like this. Serena Williams took years to build her empire. Simone Biles earned her acclaim over multiple Olympics. Caitlin? She's doing it as a rookie, in real time, in a league that wasn't prepared for this level of attention, especially from a white rookie in a league that's overwhelmingly Black and proudly queer. But as Brennan notes, that pride has clashed with resentment, and nowhere is that more visible than on social media. Everything she does is criticized. Celebrate? She's cocky. Stay quiet? She's distant. Get fouled? The media gets accused of race baiting for even asking why. Even Brennan herself became a target. When she asked if an opponent's eye poke was intentional, she was slammed online, accused of fueling racism and misogyny. The Players Association called her question a baited narrative, but Brennan stood firm, asking what no one else dared. Would you react this way if the same question was asked about a male athlete? And if not, and what does that say?
See those logo threes, she's, shooting from the parking lot and it's going in. That's where people who don't necessarily pay attention to or love basketball, they're intrigued by that.
What we're witnessing is bigger than basketball. It's a collision of race, gender, fame, and power, all playing out on center court. And whether she asked for it or not, Caitlin Clark has become the face of it all, yet she remains remarkably composed for someone just 23. When Angel Reese taunted her after the NCAA championship, Caitlin praised Angel instead of retaliating. When asked about racial attacks online, she simply said, "Do not use my name to promote hate."
Continual analysis, controversy, racial, misogynistic, you name it. Everything got thrown at her.
Even at the height of the drama, Caitlin stayed focused. The most memorable moment came during the WNBA All-Star Game, when she dished an assist to Angel Reese. The bucket, the celebration, and the handshake between two supposed rivals silenced the noise. Together, they reminded everyone what it's really about: basketball. But the pressure hasn't gone away. The WNBA stands at a crossroads, with more visibility than ever, but also more division and scrutiny. And Caitlin? She keeps playing, keeps passing, keeps being the one everyone's watching.
There has to be a level of professionalism in professional sports leagues. And the WNBA, they haven't gotten there yet.
What began as hype has become a movement. And while the league struggles to find its footing, one truth is undeniable.
This book drops tomorrow and it is going to be hellfire.
Caitlin Clark isn't the problem. She's proof that women's basketball was always worth watching. The world just needed someone bold enough to believe it.
She is the biggest racial wishbone that this sports columnist has ever seen.
The WNBA asked for attention, and when Caitlin Clark delivered it, they didn't know what to do. Rather than fully embracing the brightest star the league has ever seen, they threw jealousy, resistance, and politics in her way. Yet she keeps showing up, keeps playing, keeps making history.
Year when Caitlin Clark gets injured for the first time and she is out for a stretch of games, and the viewership drops over 50% across the entire league. We saw the price of ticket sales for Indiana Fever games when she was out. We saw those drop to as low as $7 to get into the game.
Her book isn't just breaking the internet, it's breaking the silence. It's shining a light on everything the league tried to hide: favoritism, double standards, and weak leadership. And still, Caitlin stands tall. Not just as a player, but as a pioneer, a role model, and living proof that greatness doesn't wait for permission. This is bigger than basketball. This is about change. And Caitlin Clark is the kind of change the WNBA desperately needed, but wasn't ready to face. If you believe in Caitlin, if you stand behind what she represents, drop I in the comments and let the world see we're not backing down, and neither is she.